McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles as part of a Minecraft movie meal with your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Participate in McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.
Have you been thinking about starting a podcast, but you don't know exactly where to get started? Maybe you don't know exactly what equipment you should buy or who you should go through with the hosting platforms. Well, good news. I created a course just for you. It'll be showing you how to make the fewest mistakes possible on your podcasting journey. It's called the Podcaster's Playbook, and it's a total masterclass taught by me, showing you all the techniques and tricks that we use behind the scenes of the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast. Swipe up now. Click the link in the show notes so you can purchase the Podcaster's Playbook.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy David with Black Wealth Renaissance, and I'm here today to tell you guys about Anchor. If you haven't heard of Anchor, it's the best place to make a podcast. Anchor is a free app that has creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast straight from your phone. Anchor also distributes your podcast across all major platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and many others. You can also make money on your podcast with Anchor with no minimum listenership. Anchor is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So if you're looking to get started on your own podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm.
You know the rules of the game. Yeah. You know the rules of the game. I don't care what color. Can you make me 100 million? Let's talk money. Can you make me that? If you can't make me that, I don't want to talk to you. You shouldn't even be at this table.
Hey, I got money on my mind. I'm just trying to get some dough. I ain't picking up my line unless it's money on the phone. Gotta get it on the daily. All I want is dubs. You know what I'm on. I've been chasing after paper. All I know is run money marathon.
Do 5 years of this and be a millionaire and go on do what I want to do, have kids, go live my chip and joy in the games life out here in Texas, or struggle for next few years. The choice is yours.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Black Wealth Renaissance Podcast. Our goal of this podcast is to normalize Black wealth and share helpful resources and tips we believe will be useful in attaining and maintaining generational wealth. Please feel free to rate and comment on our podcast. We would love to hear all feedback you have. Now, enjoy the show.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Black Wealth Renaissance Podcast. Your boy, David BWR to the Black Wealth Renaissance. Checking in with my co-host, fellas. How y'all feeling?
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy, Jalen, man. Another quarter of the Black Wealth Renaissance. Feeling good, feeling great, man. This Saturday just got some high energy, man. Got our sister on here that I can't wait to get deep into what's going on, bro. But before that, I'm going to let my brother Jared introduce himself.
Man, what's good? What's good? It's your boy Jared. Another fourth of the Black Wealth Renaissance, man. I'm just happy to be here again this Saturday, man. I've been working and stuff. They had me caught up for a couple of episodes, but I'm back. Ready to get into this episode. And from what I researched about our new guest, man, it's going to be a great, great episode.
Man, to be honest, dog, this is a phenomenal woman. Yeah, I might as well just go ahead and introduce our guest, y'all. On this week's episode, like I said, we got a phenomenal woman from the boot, originally from New Orleans, and she was out there with us in Lafayette. She's a real estate developer, CEO of Cachet Real Estate. She's an agent. She's doing private equity deals. She got capital equity. She really building
generational wealth. This woman really embodies the word resilience, y'all. Like, man, and I just can't, like, man. Sister, man. Terrica Lynn Smith.
Yeah, Terrica, how you doing?
Hey, y'all. Thank y'all for having me, man. It's such an honor to be here. You know, with Black Wealth Renaissance, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just honored. Like, this is crazy, but, you know, I think it's going to be an amazing show. And I just can't wait till we dive into it, you know?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, because you are we know you got a busy schedule. Yeah, and you the embodiment of what this movement is all about, like doing the work and really building generational wealth. So we can't wait to dive into it.
And with that being said, for anybody who doesn't know, any of our following who doesn't really know who you are, can you just give them a brief background of like who you are and how you got started into real estate?
Yeah, no doubt. My name is Terrica Lynn Smith, guys. For those of you who don't know me, I've been in real estate for over 15 years. I started out with nothing. I came from New Orleans, Louisiana, shortly after Hurricane Katrina, being trapped in the city for 3 days. Before even any of that, I was in foster care. I was abused at an early age. A lot of you guys may or may not know my story, but I did not have an easy path. So what you see today is completely night and day from where I started at. But fast forward to today, I'm a real estate developer, one of the co-founders of Salt Capital Equity Group, one of the largest real estate crowdfunding platforms in the state of Louisiana, along with being a real estate broker for Real Broker LLC and the CEO of Cachet Real Estate, where we have a mix of 23 different realtors throughout the state. So I am honored to be here with you guys. And thank you for having me once again.
Hey, I love it. And I know
I want to go just into your journey, because like the beginning of it all, like I want to go from the beginning, because your story,
powerful.
like you said, is not what people see today. So Can we go back and like just walk people through them humble beginnings?
Yeah, they see the diamond that's shining right now, but we got to go back.
Wasn't always shining, right?
Yeah.
Well, for those who don't know my story, I was abused at the age of 5 years old. My mother gave me over to her drug dealer to settle her debt. My innocence was taken from me forcefully. And through that, it sent me through a spiral effect of, anger and resentment and feeling inadequate, and honestly, just feeling like I don't even want to be here, and eventually ending up into foster care and going from home to home, not having nobody to want me because I had so many walls built up and I had so much hurt going on, and I didn't want to allow people to hurt me again. So I did what I knew best. I protected myself and I didn't allow nobody in. And eventually I ended up, as what they would call, a statistic. I ended up pregnant at the age of 16 years old. I spent the night up under the Claiborne Bridge with my son. Once I had him at 17, I was homeless. And I just realized, I just don't want to keep going through hell for the rest of my life. Like, there has to be something better in life than just being poor and struggling every single month and not having no money in the bank account and not being able to provide a roof over your child's head. And what I realized was that I had to go and forgive the person that hurted me the most so I can start moving forward with my life. So it wasn't until I looked my mother in the face and I said, I forgive you. I forgive you for all the hell you imposed on me. You tried to break me, but I'm not broken. You did everything you could to tear me down, but I'm still here. And that was a freeing moment for me. That was a moment where I took back control of my life. That was the moment I said, I'm Terrica Lynn Smith. I'm somebody. I may not be nobody to nobody else, but to Terrica Lynn Smith, I have to be somebody, because this little boy didn't ask to be here. I have to be the one to take care of him, or he's going to end up in foster care like I was, and he's going to be on runaway like I was, and he's going to be going through all this type of hell, and the cycle would never end. So I had to make a decision to say, look, because somebody did harm to me, because somebody else had ugly in them, I shouldn't allow that to continue to live through me, because now I'm passing all that ugly on to my own children. And so that was a moment for me to say, I'm done. I am done being the victim. I don't want to be the victim no more. Yes, my mother hurt me to my soul. That right there is one of the hardest moments I had to get through my life, to tell somebody who I did nothing wrong to, that I forgive her. That was hard as hell. Like, that ain't no easy feat. Like, people think forgiveness is easy, but try being 5 years old and having to forgive the person who gave away your innocence, And for me, that was a moment to say, okay, all right, bet. I got to do this for Tariq. I can't do this for Terrica Lynn Smith no more, because Tariq Quintarius Smith is going to end up just like Terrica Lynn Smith, homeless, nobody to call, nowhere to go, And so we have to become victors in our life, no matter what the hell is we've been through, no matter how hard it is, no matter how bad it hurt. Like, if we want true freedom, If we want the abundance that is promised to us, then we have to forgive the ones who caused the hurt and the pain upon us. So again, that's kind of like the nutshell of it.
And it's like, that's something so deep though, because I think it's more than just, I see that just speaking to our whole community. And some people might not have experienced it as deep as you, but they still might have had abusive parents and parents who they feel like didn't do the best that they could have done in our community. And I think that's the reason that a lot of us, we're not able to move forward and really able to prosper as we should, because we're holding on to some of that hurt and that anguish and that hate and just feeling like, I'm not good enough because the person that brought this life to me, they didn't even see the value in me. And I think that's so powerful that you were able to overcome that. And I just want to ask, like, how was that mentally for you overcoming that though? Like, what did you really have to do to process that? Did you have to go to like some type of counseling? Like, was it like just a self-realization?
Look, I didn't have counseling, to be honest. Like, I ain't have counseling.
McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles in the overworld. Now for a limited time, you can get one of 6 McDonald's collectibles when you order a Minecraft movie meal. With your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Available now in a biome near you. Oh, and at your local McDonald's. I participate in McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.
I just had myself and I had my situation. And my situation, honestly, was big enough to say, I got to do something different. Like, the reason why I'm homeless is because I pushed everybody away. Couldn't nobody tell me nothing, because at the age of 5 years old, I had to become an adult. But look what it has gotten me, right? So people want to love me and people want to come into my life, but I got this 10-foot wall up, and they got caution on it. Everybody is suspect, right? I don't trust nobody. And that thinking is what kept me in bondage. And so for me, I had to say, this is why I'm here, because I can remember thinking about the people who was trying to help me. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie, be like, nobody was, no, I ain't want nobody. I felt unlovable. I felt unworthy. And those feelings is what got me there. And I'm not at that age. And you have to think about it. When you are forced to become an adult at the age of 5 years old, you start telling yourself adult things at a very early age. You leave your child in the house for days at a time. My mom would be gone for days at a time. So I would have to cook. I would have to clean. Like, I had these common sense things that I had to do to be able to survive. There was a point in time where me and my sisters, we ate grass just to stay alive. We literally ate grass. I remember my sister laying on the sofa and she was crying because my mother been gone for days. She never came back. We ain't have no power. We ain't have no work. We have nothing in the house, pitch black. Imagine a little bitty tiny house. You know what I'm saying? And you got your 3 kids in there and we hungry as hell. And she said, y'all bet not go outside. Y'all bet not go outside. So you know what happened if you go outside. She catch you, the neighbors see you back in the day, they all talk. Guess what? Your butt is grass. They're going to bust your behind. But I knew even at that age, y'all, I said, look, if I don't go get something to eat, we're going to starve in here. We're going to starve. And I ran outside. Look, that sun hit me because I haven't seen daylight in so many days because we've been in a dark house. We didn't have no power. And so I'm running as fast as I could. My heart is beating uncontrollably out my chest. I'm like, oh God, please don't let this woman come back, please. And sure enough, I grabbed the first thing I seen, 2 handfuls of grass, and I ran back inside. And my heart is panting. And my baby sister is like, I am not eating that. And I said, if you don't eat it, you're going to die. So I knew under that bridge, I already had common sense because that child at that age had to have common sense. That child at that age had to be an adult because there was no adult there. So being under that bridge, I knew that the anger I had towards my mother, the feelings I had of wanting her dead, and I wish somebody would just kill her, like all of this anger and rage is what ended me here. So I'm thinking of all the people that was trying to help me along the way, but because I couldn't trust them, because I've been hurt, I pushed everybody away. So I said, if I can't forgive, then I'll never be able to let nobody get close to me. So that moment right there, like being homeless with my son, I'm crying because now I have tears of failure. Every single tear that fell down my face represented something personal to me, inadequacies, abandonment issues. Every single tear I had fall down my cheek hit me. It hit me internally. And I knew that I had to say, yo, this is it. Like, this is the worst you can possibly be in your life. And when people say, who was your mentor? I said homelessness. Homelessness was my mentor. Because when I looked around under that Claiborne Bridge, nobody looked like me.
Wow.
At that age, I knew I was better than who I was at that current position. And although my reality showed me that I was homeless, like that's the reality, right? Like you homeless, girl, you and your baby here, these men could take advantage of you. You're a young teenage mom, right? But I could not believe the reality in my head. It was just what my eyes seen. So inside my head, I'm already making the decisions to take me from the place that I'm at right now. Because if I get caught up in where I'm at, I'll still be up under that bridge. If I was to stay a victim, I'll still be up under that bridge. It's everybody else's fault I got hurt. Nobody in my family wanted me, so I ended up in foster care. If I kept that mindset, the victim mindset, I would still be up under that bridge, blaming everybody else. Sometimes, and this is hard, but sometimes we have to recognize that we can become a victor just by forgiveness.
That's
powerful.
Because you said it multiple times in that taking your mindset from that being the victim to the victor. And I think that's very important for a lot of our people to really look at with your own life. Like even I'm thinking myself, like looking in your own situation, where are you playing the victim and where are you allowing yourself to be the victor? So when you under that bridge and you finally you got this vision, what was your first steps away from that?
So look, this is when you become a victor, right? I had no money. I just had a food stamp card that I knew I was going to get food stamps on. So I'm literally making phone calls from a payphone, okay? Calling ads in the newspaper saying, can you allow me to move in? I don't have no money right now, but this is what I can give you. That's illegal. That's illegal to offer your food stamp card, right? But desperate times calls for desperate situations. Yep. And so for me, I had one guy that answered, and I wrote this in my book, My Life Story, right? And he answered the phone and he said, I'm not going to take your food stamps. He said, but I can't see you and your child homeless anymore. Like, I can't see y'all homeless. He said, I have a unit. It may not be the best, but I'll let you stay in there. And when you start working and when you start getting on your feet, then I'll allow you to start paying me rent. Don't give me no food stamps. That was my first hand up in life, I feel, that I accepted. I wasn't too proud. I took it. And when I got into that apartment, I became grateful of all the small things that I wasn't really paying attention to. Like throughout all the hell and adversity that I was going through, I remember those small little blessings along the way that reminded me that something more powerful than me was still in control of my current situation when I look around. And so, coming into that apartment and, finally having a roof over my head, I still had to struggle. It didn't all of a sudden get easy. All right. Like the light bill everything. Right. Yeah. The light bill people don't care that they don't care about nothing, right? They want them tokens. Okay. So I still had struggles, but in that apartment complex, it was a whole community of people in New Orleans that just looked out for you. I left my son with strangers to go work at the temp service, to sit out there for 3:00 in the freaking morning, hoping they would give me some work. But I wanted it so bad. I wanted it so bad. And being in foster care, they have organizations, once you age out, that still give some type of financial assistance. But you got to be there at the wee hours of the morning. And it ain't guaranteed. But by all means, I'm there.
You was there.
Yeah. I'm there. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? it was never a point where I was at the temp service and I didn't get no work. I always got work. I think it's because I showed up expecting. You know, when I went to Catholic Charities that helped the foster care youth, I went there expecting that they were going to give me some tokens. How else am I going to pay my light bill? I don't got no money. So they got to do something to help me. Now, that's just my thinking. That's not what was real. You know what I'm saying? But that was my thinking process. And I think that thinking process kept me going along the way.
I think that thinking process, though, speaks to your faith, like you said, because like you said, whenever there was these small things that would happen, those are the things that kept you knowing that, you know, God is with me. Because, and I had wanted to ask you that, because sometimes people, they go through these things and they find themselves in these positions and they just lose faith in everything. And I'm glad that you touched on, you know, this is what kept me going, because, you know, even though it's as bad as we can see it, there's always a little glimmer of light, like, you know, I'm still watching out for you. This is just a test to see what you're going to really become.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Yes.
So, Terrica, you were in the house, you started working. I mean, you making it happen. When did you come into real estate? Like, when was that part of your journey?
That's a funny story. All right. So right after Hurricane Katrina, I was like, I prayed. I'm like, because I don't know if you guys know, but Hurricane Katrina felt like the end of the world. Like I thought everybody was going through this. I didn't know it was just New Orleans folks.
You know what's crazy? We had it kind of bad, but not bad like y'all. Like in Opelousas, we lost lights. Like the 337.
I just remember it being windy and rainy.
Yeah,
and
we lost lights and like we didn't have water for like a day. But what y'all were experiencing, once we heard the news, we're like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was bad. Like I remember. All right, so let's just talk about Katrina real quick, right?
Yeah, let's go.
So yeah, the day before, let me tell y'all how crazy life is. I had no clue what perishable items were. Like nobody just never told us that. So they're like, yo, y'all need to go get y'all perishable items. And I'm like, all right, cool. So look, I'm going to get pork chops. I'm going to get all kind of stuff. I have no clue what perishable items is, but I'm like, yo, we're going to be stuck in here for a few days. I need to make sure we eating good, okay? Yeah. Now, obviously, they ain't perishable items, okay? Yeah. But the night Katrina came, it was like a train coming. Like, it got serious. And what a lot of people don't realize, and I just want to say this for the world to know, people didn't just stay in New Orleans because they love New Orleans. We stayed because we were poor and we didn't have no money. And then right before Katrina, they had us evacuate for another hurricane. So if you don't got money and you already evacuated, and now they send another hurricane come and you got to evacuate again, you're like, yo, I'm going to ride this one out.
That shit.
And that's what we did.
Like that last one wasn't all that. I'm staying.
Yeah.
And then if you did have the resources, you already burned it for the first trip.
Yes, that's it, So I'm like, all right, so then it's not like a train about to just straight hit our apartment complex. It's like a loud whistle, like the loudest thing I ever heard. And I remember my body shaking on the inside, like, I'm about to die. Like, you can't go nowhere. Like, it's kind of that feeling where you just want to get out of your skin. Like, what the hell is going on right now, And they had this huge tree behind the apartment building, hit the apartment complex. Bow! And it was like, like, then it got real, right? So the next morning, because when you hear things falling, you got to get into a safe place in the bathroom, in the bathtub, and you just got to put your head down. You got to wait, right? You got to pray nothing come through. The next morning we wake up, the whole entire area is a wreck. And so now you hear people on the back of the truck saying, leave the city, it's about to flood. And you're like, wait, first of all, I don't know how to swim.
I'm going to get out of here.
I don't know how to swim. That's my first thought. Like, I'm about to drown, okay? Like, I'm not even about to put up a fight no more because homegirl can't swim. Her kids can't swim. Nobody around me could swim, okay? Then all of a sudden, power lines start hitting the ground and fires start breaking out. Fires everywhere. So now you got to be careful. I'm like, God, I know that this is the rapture and you have not come and taken me. But I promise you, if I make it through this for the next hurricane ever in history, no matter what part of the world I'm in, I'm flying out of here. And I'm taking my whole entire family with me. Please, God, just get us from this situation. My husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, he was siphoning gasoline out of a car with a water hose to get gas because none of the gas stations was operable. This was before social media. So while he's siphoning gasoline, trying to put it into another car to get us to safety, he hear his mother and sisters and his family is trapped on top of the roof.
Damn.
Gator swimming. So it's like, it was like hell. So I was like, all right, I can't, like, whew, this is too much. So we made it through Katrina. We ended up in a city called Lafayette, Louisiana. I ain't know nobody in Lafayette, Louisiana. I knew 0 people, okay? But what I did know is it took us 5 days to get from New Orleans to Bow Bridge.
What?
Damn.
5 days.
God
Y'all
damn.
kept siphoning gas to get.
No. Traffic. It
Yeah,
wouldn't
I was about
move.
to say it's the traffic, bro.
Damn.
Yeah.
I-10
Yeah.
is.
You could not, like, you couldn't go nowhere.
Mm-mm.
People was literally sitting on top of their cars, which is called the chapelier. I didn't know that, right? I just knew we was sitting on top of something that kept
Elevation.
moving. Okay, that's all we knew, right? Literally laid out on top of their cars taking naps because it was damn tight. You could not go nowhere. So after all those days of trying to get to the next city, right? We made it to Lafayette, Louisiana, and I'm like, all right. Before I was homeless with my son, before I became pregnant, I was selling magazines on the road, going door to door. And I would ask people, yo, what do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? And they'll be like, oh, I'm in real estate. Oh, I'm in real estate. So that was something that always stuck with me. Mm-hmm. So when I got to Lafayette, Louisiana, I'm like, I got to find something to do. Like, I need a career. So I was like, I'll get started in real estate. So I went to real estate school, y'all. I had no clue what they was talking about. Nobody in my family talked about interest rates. Mm-hmm. Nobody talked about mortgage. Like, they talked about none of this stuff. So I'm sitting in class and this language is foreign to me. I have no clue about this language.
First time hearing that type of stuff, yeah.
So I'm the one in class like, what is an encroachment? What is a mortgage? What are interest rates? Like,
you scared to ask these questions.
Yeah, look, I knew one thing. Whatever was before me, it had to be better than what's been behind me. That's what I did know. It got to be way better. So if I got to ask questions, David, to get to where I need to be, guess what? I'm going to ask a million of them questions. Okay? So I'm sitting in class, y'all. I felt that test not once, not twice, but 7 times. 7 times. I remember going to the real estate commission in Baton Rouge, and then they got one in Lake Charles. Not the commission, the exam place. One in Baton Rouge, one in Lake Charles. Y'all both know they about 45 minutes to an hour away. Either way, right? And every time I felt I'm coming back crying, snot boogers into, I hate real estate. I ain't gonna never do it. And then you know what? I'm back on the phone, PSI. Yes, I would like to schedule my, please. They're like, you know, it's $100. I'm like, yep. And then I got to go $100 to go retake the test because I didn't have a lot of money again. So finally, after the time of passing, I'm like, yes, I just passed my real estate exam and now I'm about to go be rich in real estate. And guess what? The first year I did $5,000 in sales, and I think it was pity sales. Like, I think people felt bad for me. Okay. Like, realtors would give me the worst of the worst properties. And I'll be like, oh, yes, I got to listen. I'm so excited. And then eventually I realized this. In certain areas, you got to, like, if you don't have a certain last name, you're not going to get that type of business that you're expecting. So I was not a Boudreaux. I was not a Thibodeau. I was not a Kali Saloon or Ambassador Capper. I wasn't none of those people, okay? I just was Terrica Lynn Smith. But I picked up real quick that the ones who were having this massive amount of success had some type of legacy behind them that made it a lot easier than what it was for me. So I went to my grassroots. I started back knocking on doors. Boom, boom, boom. I was the realtor that would knock on doors and ask you to put your property on the market. I was unapologetic. I was unafraid, and I was not embarrassed.
So you pulling up on like distressed properties alone, or just area property?
No, anybody at the time that had a for sale by owner sign in the yard. Okay. Hi, Miss Jones. My name is Terrica Lynn Smith. I see you have your property for sale. Do you have 10, 15 minutes to let me give you a recap of what's going on in your neighborhood and the marketplace? Who are you? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm with Century 21 Gateway. I am a real estate agent. A real estate agent knocking on the door? Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Well, why would I choose you? Because I'm standing right here. I know your first name. I did the research in the area and I have the time. Anybody else is going to treat you like a number. Come on in, Shaq. That's how it went.
Now that's balls. That's that drive and that motivation.
Like she said, unapologetic.
Look, you got to be. Look, no permission needed. Just go and do it.
I love it. And so that was year 2 that you did that?
Yes.
What was the sales like in year 2?
So year 2, I ended up becoming the top producing agent for the company, earning a Ruby Award.
Hold on.
Love to hear it, man.
Man.
Number from
victim to victim, man.
Real shit. That's gotta be the name of the episode.
Hey.
Yeah.
Man, that's amazing. And I just love the tenacity and like you really just you saw what other people weren't willing to do also though. Right. And that made you stand out to them. Like why should I pick you? Because I'm here. I know you. Like I'm doing what everyone is not willing to do. So I'm going to go above and beyond for you, which I'm pretty sure you did.
Yes. Oh, yes. And so what happens is this though. I realized the market, y'all, that I was competing in, it had way too many people competing. So I'm from the streets, right? Sometimes you just got to take a step back, observe, and see where the gap is. I'm like, okay, I got to find my own niche. Everybody else look the same right now. In order to be number one, I have to be odd. I have to be odd. How can I make myself odd in this marketplace? I said, nobody's focusing on investors.
The NBA playoffs are here, and I'm getting my bets in on FanDuel. Talk to me, Chuck GPT. What do you know?
All sorts of interesting stuff, even Charles Barkley's greatest fear.
Hey, nobody needs to know that.
New customers bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
21 plus and present in Virginia. Must be first online real money wager. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Ooh. So then I'm like, all right, how can you get an investor, Terrica? I don't know none. Again, I don't know nobody, right? But I'm not going to let that be my crutch because I don't know nobody. So I went to a grocery store one time and somebody was fussing and complaining. It was like, go get me the manager. And then the little register person kind of was trying to be smart, was like, how about I get you the owner? And I was like,
okay,
I'm
like that.
So then, the owner came back. He looked like he was Indian or whatever the case may be. And he dealt with the situation. So I went into another store just to test the theory, right? And I said, it's the owner here. And they said, yeah, let me go get him. And I was like, oh, I found something. So then I went back and I said, I introduced myself to the first store owner. I said, hey, my name is Terrica Lynn Smith. I'm 6321, and I would like to be your realtor. I would like to help you grow your investment portfolio. Well, how do you know I'm an investor? Well, because you're on this gas station. So and he's like, well, actually, I am looking for other properties. I said, let me do this. I'll work for you for free on the first deal. I'll prove myself to you. And all I ask in return is for you to continue to use me. I still work with those same investors to this day. And guess what? One rich person knows another rich person that knows another rich person that knows another rich person. So now, they have this thing of, wait, you just did that and you did this. And he's like, look, you got to talk with my girl, Terrica. You got to talk with her. And I'm like, yeah, you got to talk with me. Don't talk to me.
Find your own niche within the Lafayette market, in your local market. But
let me tell you, it gets even better. I realized that I was doing all of the work. So it went from me finding their gas stations to me designing houses for them, picking out paint colors and flooring on all of these flips, right? I'm helping them make a ton of money, okay? And I ain't even tripping. But one day I'm sitting at the closing table and the attorney says, so are you the person that designed the property? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, I need to talk to you because I got a few houses I would like. Small thinking. I'm thinking as a realtor, oh, yes, I'm about to get another 3%. And he asked me to pass this check on over to my client. It was 6 figures.
Oh
wow.
Now, I'm not one that's greedy, but I'm also not a fool. So I was like, I ain't saying nothing. I just paid attention. So I passed him his check. We shook it up. We still 100 to this day. I'm not lying to you guys. We still 100. I passed him his check. That was the last day I ever worked for 3% again.
But because you understood after that point.
So then I said, when my investors came back to me, that's like, all right, we about to do another house tea. I'm like, yes, we are. But you're going to give me 50%.
What was that? What was their reaction?
How was the reaction? Yeah.
I'm about to 50%. You don't even got money. I lost all my investors but one, y'all. I was okay with that. I was okay with that because I knew that I can go make 3% if I needed it. I was okay with that. And one investor stood with me. And he said, well, look, to tell you the truth, I don't know how to do what you're doing. And I'm not about to get in here and deal with these properties like that. I'm not about to design it. Like, I'm not about to do any of that. You do all of that anyway. I'm okay with giving you 50%. So he gave me 50%. That was my first 6-figure check ever. Okay. And so now I'm getting 5 and 6-figure checks. It went from being 3 figures and 4 figures to 5 and 6 figures.
So huge.
All because I was like, I'm not doing this no more.
That's realize your value in the situation.
Thank you, Jared. Yes.
And I love it because it all came from you initially doing the stuff that nobody ever wants to do. And that's going and working, putting in the work and proving yourself. And then I'm pretty sure you learn these things from these people while working with them.
That's right.
And I'm pretty sure you taught some of that stuff to yourself. But man, that's crazy with it. So I want to ask you, I'm just thinking on it. Once you go from those 3 and 4-figure checks to those 5-figure checks, how was that transition for you? Because I know like once you start seeing that much more come in, it's a whole different process now. Like now you gotta manage your money at a different level. Because I'm pretty sure like I'm used to 3 and 4-figure shit. I got more to spend. That's what most people think.
Yeah, let me tell you this. I didn't know how to manage 3 figures, 4 figures, 5 figures, or 6 figures. I did not know how. No matter how much money I was making, I still was poor. I still was poor.
Damn.
No matter how much money I was making, I still was poor. I still was living paycheck to paycheck. Where can you go make, $100,000 on a deal and then you look 6 months later and don't know where the money is?
Damn.
I don't know. I don't know too many places where you could go do that.
Exactly. Damn. Right. And so what I would say is this, you
was living like a rapper.
I was living poor. I had nice cars. I had all this. We was taking vacations. We was living it up at Ruth Chris. I'm over at Lester's. Whoop, whoop. I'm all over the place. Okay. Look, giving my family the stuff they never had before. Look, you heard the song, right? I'm acting like a female that never had nothing. Okay. That's how I was spending. Again, you got to step back. You got to assess the situation and you got to see where it's weak at, where it's broken at. And I was broken in my mindset. Nobody never taught me financial literacy. So I taught myself financial literacy. I taught myself that the type of spending I'm doing, I will always be poor. I would never make enough money to keep up with how fast I spend money.
So when was the aha moment? When did that happen?
That happened whenever I looked back and I couldn't find out where $100,000 went. I could not figure it out. Like I had nothing to show for it. I mean, of course I had I had some Gucci boots. I had some stuff, but it wasn't like, look, at this point, I don't even like you Gucci boots no more. I want my money back. I was like salty, like, want my money, but I didn't know, y'all. Like, I didn't have no financial literacy, and people are embarrassed to say that. But like I said, nobody was talking about real estate when I was growing up. I had no clue. Nobody talks about financial literacy in our communities. We're doing a better job of it now because you got platforms such as you guys that's educating the community. But how many people are really taking the time to digest exactly the post that you're putting out there?
Not a lot. I'll tell you this. I know for sure the more informative posts, they do less than the people when we just talking about some BS.
That's right. That's right. People, and including myself, right? Like, we are comfortable with what we know. it becomes uncomfortable when we don't know it, right? And I remember I was like, all right, I'm ready to go do a property on my own. And my banker was like, okay, Terrica, we'll look out for you, right? And so he was like, fill out this personal financial statement. And I'm like, I ain't gonna tell him I don't know what it is. So I go home, I'm Googling it, I'm YouTubing it. I don't understand this. It's like money coming in and money coming out. And I'm like, yo, I don't know how to do this. So I'm gonna just try to rig it up and hopefully he don't pay attention to this form. He said, Terrica, I'm gonna resend it to you. I think you probably made a few typos on it. I thought, oh, okay. He sent it back to me. I did the same exact thing, but I fixed the little numbers, right? Sent it back to him. He called me. He said, Terrica, do you not know how to fill out a personal financial statement? Yo, I was a real estate broker. He said, no, nobody never taught me. He said, how about we go to coffee and I teach you how to fill this out? He said, if you want to be a millionaire, you have to know where your liabilities and assets lie. And right now you have no clue what's going on. I said, okay. So he took me out to coffee and he showed me how to do it. And from there, I do it every single month. Every single month, I'm tracking liabilities, assets. And now I understand how to do a personal financial statement.
That's powerful. That's powerful. And I love the fact that he took that step and invested into you to want to see you win.
Yes, he did. I'm forever grateful. Let me tell you something. I read on the internet a few days ago that networking can put you in rooms that, education or something like that won't, or something like that. Somewhere I read that, right? And I thought about the relationship that I have with my banker. Like this bank would write me a check for $1 million right now if I asked. But it's because before I was like making all this money or whatever in real estate, I would send them every last one of my investors as a realtor. And I would go to the bank and I would have conversations with them and I would know all of the teller names. And whenever my account was negative and overdrawn, they would call me and say, Ms. Smith, do you have some money to put in here? We don't want to hit you with the late fees.
Them relationships.
That's what built.
And that's you already know what I'm on. That's a transformative relationship though. Like that's not just transactional. Like you could have just been there every time I'm just trying to close a deal, but you actually knew those people and they wanted to see you win as much as you wanted to see them win.
Jalen, they loaned me money and my credit score was 580.
Damn.
They did it off of the relationship. Yeah. The relationship. Like everything on paper, I was not supposed to get no money from a bank. They did it based off of the relationship. Years of me sending people there, years of me being Terrica, speaking to everybody, even the janitor, just talking to everybody. I'll have a conversation with anybody if you put me in a room with them, and that right there is what allowed me to be able to get a loan from them. Now they'll write me a check, like I said, for $1 million, no issue.
That's powerful.
Have you been thinking about starting a podcast, but you don't know exactly where to get started? Maybe you don't know exactly what equipment you should buy or who you should go through with the hosting platforms. Well, good news. I created a course just for you. It'll be showing you how to make the fewest mistakes possible on your podcasting journey. It's called the Podcaster's Playbook, and it's a total masterclass taught by me, showing you all the techniques and tricks that we use behind the scenes of the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast. Swipe up now, click the link in the show notes so you can purchase the Podcaster's Playbook.
So after you got your personal financial statements and your personal financial situation together, what was it like your very first investment property on your own?
Well, so the very first property I bought was my rental property, which I did not use a bank. I used my tax return for $5,000. Okay. And I bought this ugly Huckleberry, me and my husband, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, y'all. It was ugly. It was on South Orange Street. I still have that house. Shout out to my tenants who still rock with me. I love y'all. Okay. It's a cute house now. But at the time, it was an ugly house. And I mean, me and my husband would go to Family Dollar and buy that pill and stick flooring. We did what we needed to do to make that house get ready. That's the first property that we ever owned together that I was able to pledge at that bank and let them use it as collateral.
So you got it for $4,500. You got it. How'd you get it for that? Like a wholesale deal?
I bought it for $5,000. Yeah. So I had a wholesaler call me, said, hey, we have a property. It's really bad. And I was just going to sell it to one of my investors. And I was like, because I don't have no money, but I'm like, yo, I got my taxes coming in. So I'm like calculating all my little tokens and stuff. I used that $5,000 tax return. I said, you know what? I'm going to buy the property and I'm going to keep it. I fixed that property up. I put $3,000 into it, y'all, my tax return and my real estate commission check. $8,000. Sent that sucker, got it appraised, $60,000.
What?
Hello.
And you was using peeling stick?
Look, it was nice though. I'm telling y'all, like we literally glued that sucker down where it was nice. Like
that's starting where you at and really just getting into the game.
That's it. Start where you at and stop trying to make it pretty. Everybody be stunting and stuff like, yo, I got like 150 doors. You can do it too. Look, I had one door that was $5,000. I put $3,000 into it. And guess what? That's how I got my start. I ain't have a whole lot of doors. And I still got that property. That property is my humble beginning, you know, because if I would have never did that, then I wouldn't have started investing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
And I heard you mention something. I heard you mention something too about like a portion as far as like leveraging the property. So can you speak a little bit further about how you did that and explain that for any followers that might be interested?
Absolutely. So what happens is now I have a property that's worth $60,000. So it don't matter what I paid for it and what I put into it, if it's worth that much. So when I'm talking with my banker, he's like, do you have any properties? And I'm like, yeah, I got a little house that's paid for. And when they appraised it, it appraised for $60,000. Well, if the bank is going to give you 80% of that value, what is 80% of 60,000, y'all?
Shit, that's what, $50,000? No, a
$48,000.
little less than 50, huh?
Yeah, $48,000.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. How much money do you need if the bank say, look, you need 20% to put down property? And I'm looking at a property for $225,000. $225,000 times 20%. What's the math on that? I love y'all.
Yeah, I got it.
45,000.
Okay. And
Right
how
where
much
you need
they
it to
gave
be.
me? How much they gave me?
48.
Okay.
In there.
You came out winning. You still had a little extra left.
Yeah. And look, I did that with my little $8,000 investment. I was all in. All in. And when you all in, you know what I'm saying? You ain't focused on what the left is doing and what the right is doing. All you focus on is what you're doing. You have to be all in for yourself or nobody else is going to be all in for you. And if you look into the left and you look into the right, you're distracted. You have to stay focused with what you have in front of you. Everybody else may look like they're doing way more than you. Everybody else may look like they're on a higher platform than you. Everybody else bank accounts may look than yours and they got all of these relationships and all of these people rock with them. But when you look at yourself straight up and down and you've been 100 with yourself and you like, look, we got to get it. We got to stay focused. Then your attention is not going to be doing this no more. It's going to be doing this.
Just got them blinders
That's
on.
it. As long as you're in your lane, you'll never run out of gas. You'll never run out of gas as long as you stay in your lane.
Message.
I had to hit him with it. That's a bar.
So you take that money, you use the Burr method and you flipping now, or you get into that other property and you start buying and holding?
No, so I did a flip right afterwards and then I bought some doors that I held on to. And eventually that's what led me into developing, right? Because I've seen empty lots and subdivisions and I'll just go build a new construction house and then I'll sell it. Then I go do another one. And then I did a small little development. Then I did another little development. Then I'm like, you know what? I want to do a big development.
And that led to Madeline Cove?
That led to Madeline Cove, right?
We got to talk about that.
We got to talk about that.
Yeah. So when they came out with the Opportunity Zone Act, I was like, yo, people are upset because they think only the rich can benefit off of this. Again, when you're in your lane, you will not run out of gas, right? I'm like, yo, this is the vehicle we need to prevent gentrification. This is the vehicle we need to stop what's going on in our own communities. Who else better to come into our own communities than us, who understands the pain points of what's going on in the communities? We understand what we need. We understand what we don't want. So why not us get together and go do it? So I'm like, all right, I got a lot of investors. Over the years, I done built tons of relationships, right? And so finally I was like, I started talking to all my normal investors who I've made millions for, y'all, millions. They start looking at me with a side eye. Like, why you want to invest over there? Like, what you mean over there? You don't have a problem flipping a property over there to them.
But you, whenever it comes to building a whole community,
it's a problem.
So what's going to happen when you build a community? This is what people need to understand. When you go in and develop a community, you are increasing tax dollars. And when you have increased tax dollars in communities, your voice becomes much louder. And you don't have any value, then your voice is not really heard. So for me, it's extremely important for Madeline Cove is a statement. It is a social statement. It is an economic statement. It is a statement to say, hey, we are here. We ain't going nowhere. And guess what? We doing this all over the world. I'm going to teach everybody how to do this all over the world. And so I had so many investors tell me, nah, T, we're going to sit this one out. We're going to see how it go. You're going to see how it go. I had investors was like, nah, like, I don't want to invest on that side of town. Like, I ain't trying to put that kind of money over there. First of all, dude,
we know what's going on in Lafayette. Like,
yeah. First of all, this is your capital gains. Like, you know, I'm sassy. So I'm like, this is your capital gains. You about to give this to Uncle Sam anyway. This not even your money. So if they saying you can put the money that you about to give to Uncle Sam in a vehicle that can enrich a community, and you're choosing not to because you don't believe in it, you about to give the money away anyway. This makes no sense to me. At least roll the dice on yourself and try to make something. There's nothing lost if this don't go right. It was going to Uncle Sam. There's no risk. That makes sense.
You taking 40 out of that.
Off top.
It's crazy they was willing to let it go.
Y'all, I'm telling y'all, let me just say this.
That's that Lafayette other shit right there.
Let me say this. I went through 100 no's, way more than 100, but 100 solid no's of no. You know where the opportunity zones profit at in Lafayette, Louisiana? In the oil field center. Do the oil field center need any more tax dollars given to them with ICE coming over to take over everything?
No. And I knew it was going to be some adjacent zones because we had another guest told us, like, if it's adjacent to an opportunity zone, it can flow through. And that's some bullshit.
It's all them days.
Nah, man, I gotta call Lafayette out on their bullshit. Y'all full of shit, Lafayette.
Let me tell y'all this. There's some people that's on the government level that really rock with the north side of Lafayette. And they rock with us and the initiative. And they have fought blood, tooth, and nails to help us get this through. There's some solid people. And then you got some not so solid people, right, who have their own agendas and who want to keep people suppressed for whatever reason, right? Who's afraid of, you know, anything to take place, right? Like lay off the park people. Like, what? Let me not get into politics. But
that's a whole nother thing. Like
taking away the Walmart from the north side.
Look, don't get me started on this podcast. I'll never leave. Okay, like I'm just saying. One thing I'm passionate about.
That's gonna be for sure.
One thing I'm passionate about is being equal. Like we're not even asking for anything other than equality. Like that's it. Like treat us equally. And I say us, right? Poverty has no color, right? Scott Turner said it best. Poverty has no color. I'm talking about the people who's living in areas that's working against them, who can't afford one single home because the average income on that particular side of town is $22,000 to $25,000 for one individual. Some homes too. And the average home sales price is $200,000. How can they ever afford home ownership if you're not going to make it affordable? And so with Madeline Cove, we didn't just make it affordable, and we didn't use any government money. None. So when people hear us say we're building affordable housing, they automatically associate that with subsidized housing.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't taking a penny from the government. The government is not about to come in here and control who we allow and who we don't allow in our community. When we say affordable, we're building homes that fits within that income bracket of the individuals who live there. That's who this is for.
To create ownership in that community.
That's right.
Can you break down the difference between subsidized housing versus the affordable housing?
Yes. So, all right. So when I say affordable, I mean literally affordable within your income. Okay. Meaning you don't need government assistance. Like we don't need subsidized assistance, meaning grant assistance from the government. Okay. They give you grants and tax dollars and all these different type of things to start building in communities. We're not using any of that. We're using our own money from our bank accounts and capital gains money, right? That would be paid to the IRS, and we're developing the community. So affordable to us is building homes that are within your price range and your income bracket. Their income is not about to go up right now unless minimum wage go up. So why not meet them where they at? We have to have a hearts and mind change. So not only am I working with the community in regards to building these homes, I'm working on their mindset. Because to be a homeowner, you have to be able to retain this. You remember how I said I was making 5 and 6 figures and I was blowing through it? I didn't have financial literacy. So what good would it do if we're building these homes for people in the community and they don't have financial literacy and they end up going bankrupt and are foreclosing?
Nothing. You just put them right back where they was at.
We put them right back where they were, but worse now, because now they have this major thing on their name. So we have to educate in all aspects, not just within the community, but the people outside of the community who have this fear of something bigger than them taking place.
Hey, it's Brooke England here from Deposits. And if you're a fan of culture and business, then be sure to check out and subscribe to Deposits, where I interview dope individuals and celebrities of the culture. And we get into contracts, entertainment, and my favorite part, payouts. It's brought to you exclusively by the Revolt Podcast Network, anchored in hip hop, powered by creators.
That's powerful. That's impactful.
So after those 100 no's, Jalen, just to finish the story, we end up securing the development, right? And we're investing $14.5 million into a community that haven't received tax dollars, investment dollars. They haven't received anything in decades. And now we're able to be able to provide a mixed use community that consists of, we're looking at bringing in a grocery store to the area because there's none within the
proximity. A grocery store in the hood.
Yeah, we're looking at bringing in a coffee shop and a bookstore and not another liquor store and not another gas station. We're looking at bringing in a type of grocery store that's healthy, right? Like stop putting junk grocery stores in low income areas and expecting people to get rid of this diabetes and all of this other stuff that's killing people within the community. So the partnerships that we're looking at bringing in are very strategic because it's meant to uplift the community and not deplete the community.
That's powerful. And I got so happy whenever you said the coffee thing, because I always tell David, I'm like, bro, there's no black-owned coffee spots or no smoothie spots on the north side. I'm like, bro, we need that.
Yeah, they have black coffee that's on downtown Lafayette.
Okay, I forget about them.
But downtown Lafayette to me is not North Lafayette.
That's
I was just saying, we can argue this, right? They be like, yo, you from New Orleans, you don't know. But I beg to differ. That's downtown Lafayette. That's downtown Lafayette, not
that's totally different.
Yeah. And they are part of the opportunity zone as well, downtown Lafayette.
And one of the coolest parts about it to me was like the grocery store aspect. Like that was really dope because of the whole thing as far as food deserts. And then like y'all said, even during the podcast, like no grocery shops in the hood or no quality grocery stores like in the hood. And I just think that's really commendable that you're bringing that option to people so that they can have healthier food options.
Absolutely, absolutely. And shout out to any grocery stores that want to sit down and have a conversation and bring in their grocery stores to our communities.
Yes.
We got to make that happen. Yeah. If y'all on the grocery store, y'all reach out.
Yes.
And I kind of want to go a little bit deeper with the whole generational wealth thing and what you're doing, because one of the things about that is, didn't you name one of the streets after your son?
I did. So one of the streets in the community is called Terrica Road. And that's important to me because I made my son a promise up under that bridge that we would never be homeless again, and that I will work my butt off day and night, so he never have to experience that hunger and, homelessness and all of the stuff that we were going through. Like, I don't want him to have to experience the things that I had to experience in life. And so with that, we are going to have an unveiling of the street where I'm able to present to him his own street name. And it's going to be here forever. People be able to ride on Terrica Road and know the story behind that, to know that that's my son's name. And we did this because of a mother's promise to her son.
Hey, that's
cold.
Like, for one, I ain't never seen the name Tyreek on no street. That's the hardest part about it. There's a black name on the street, for one. Yeah. I love that. The young man, y'all got to put like a plaque or something with it, like with your story. Like, you know how to be having that in Louisiana, like the historical markers, then you get on y'all street.
Y'all gonna be out there whenever we have the big old grand opening, and we getting started with construction and everything now as we speak. Whenever we have everything going on, y'all got to come out there.
Sure.
Be out there. Yeah, so
we gonna pull up we got to pull up with the crew. We got to get there.
Yes, come through.
Even speaking more to the generational wealth, because like we know a couple more things. Like, I want to speak because I want to get to the developers game as well. But I want to talk about your daughter, because that was a whole young beast. That was a whole other dope story that I heard. Like, so
I saw it on Facebook. I saw you posted it on Facebook.
At age 15, your daughter went get her first investment property after watching her mama just hustle like this. So can we talk about this a little bit? How did this all come together?
Well, so it's funny because I was doing another workshop, and it was called How to Play Monopoly in Real Life Part 2. And so I told my kids, I said, look, I really want for you guys to come to this class. If you guys come to this class, I'm going to pay each one of you $100 because you're going to have to write an essay. You're going to have to create a business, right? And generate income. I need for y'all to know how to just generate income. If nobody's going to give you income, I need you to understand how to generate it. And I was like, oh, we don't want to go to this class. We don't want to go to this class. And so finally, I was like, well, you don't have no choice. I don't pay you no money. You still go. What you want to do? So it's like, all right, we take the money. We going. So they went to the class, and my daughter heard, she heard one of the speakers speak on wholesaling, and she was like, wait, you don't need no money to sell a contract? And the wholesaler was like, no. She said, you mean to tell me I just got to find somebody who's selling a property, and my mama who's always buying property, I just tell her about it? And they said, yes. And that was it at that moment. That was it. It was like this awkward quietness. The very next day after this conference, I received a long text message of properties, okay? And not only did I receive it, in the class, we taught how to, figure out the value and all other type of stuff. So she said, she sent me over the comps. She sent me over why they selling. She sent me over the addresses and the sales price. And I'm like, oh, okay, she's serious, right? So I'm looking at them. I'm like, nah, none of these are really good for me to buy. So then finally she hit me up and she called me. She said, look, Ma, I'm about to send you another property. If you're not interested, I'm going to sell it to somebody else. I'm like, okay. So then she told me about the property. Now, mind you, I'm very familiar with street names in our community. I'm like, oh, this sounds good, right? And so she was like, they was asking $100,000 and some for it, but I talked them down to about 80,000. Said, wait, you negotiating? I know. I'm like, wait, you negotiating? It's like, you 15. Like, she's 15 at the time, y'all. So I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, well, give me the information. So I get on the phone and I talk with the seller, and he said, Ma, that's some daughter you have, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know, right? He said she was not afraid to ask me to go down on my price. And I said, and I think most people are afraid to ask.
Your 50-year-old daughter.
Look, so,
no money in the pocket, neither.
None. So then we go ahead, we talk further. I do inspections. I find some stuff. And so we end up picking up the house at $65,000. Phenomenal deal. Okay. Phenomenal. I'm probably going to make like $55,000 off this deal. Okay.
Come on now.
Phenomenal deal. Yeah. Like phenomenal deal. My daughter not only negotiated that contract, she have a contract with me. Okay. So I'm the owner of her LLC. So she have an LLC, but she's under 18. So I have to be over it. In that, I will not only pay into our LLC, into our company, XYZ dollars from the sale of it, okay? The equity part of it, my percentage. She like, I need some of that too.
Come on.
You built a beast though. You taught her.
You challenged her, and she was like, "Okay."
Look, my daughter hit me with an NDA, y'all. I was like, "Where they do this at? Where they hitting their mamas with NDAs at? Like, y'all tell me where they doing that at, okay?" I'm like, "You really want me to sign an NDA?" She like, "Yeah, I can't have you telling my deals to nobody. You be on the internet too much."
Oh wow.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh, all right, beast." Like straight beast mode. She actually like talking with some other investors that I know. And one of my investors hit me on the side. He texted me like, "Is Ataya really 15? Like, is she really 15? I said, "No, she's 16 now." She's 16 now. He was like, "She don't be playing. She told me I had 24 hours to make a decision or it's going to the next investor." I said, "Yep, that's how she do me too. I'm sorry."
Hey, but that's hard. A lesson in that. Like, she watched you do it and you created that. Not only that's like the lesson in generational wealth. It's not just showing like by doing it and earning it for yourself. You taught her about these things. You made your children learn. So now that like at age 15, she ain't even got no objections to it in her head. My mama doing this every day.
I see it's possible.
What you talking about?
Yeah.
We'll do this.
Yep. And the funny thing is, even with her, like she hit me this morning, like 8:00 in the morning. We about to go take a look at this property. Look, here's the address. Let me know if you're interested. I'm like, okay, I'll let you know.
That's crazy. That's wild.
Terrica, I do have a quick question. In there, you mentioned when you went to the property, y'all did some inspections and you got the price down even lower. Can you talk about that some, like how that works for?
Yep. So what happens is you have you should have an inspection period for every property that you buy, right? Because you want to go in there with your contractors and, different people, termite people. You want different people to come and check out different things that can be blind spots that may cost you a lot of money in the deal. And sure enough, we found out that this house was being held up by car jacks, had like 8 of them under the house.
Damn, wow.
Because they had a really bad termite infestation and some of the floors started becoming unleveled, which to me, when I first walked into the property, I just thought it was an unleveled floor. I didn't know anything past it, and then we cut open a piece of the flooring. We like, yo, we need to cut this flooring to see what's up under it. They're like, yeah, sure, no problem. And we cut it. And sure enough, it's only had one owner. So the original owner of the property had jacks placed up under there because he didn't want to replace the support beams.
That's wild. Crazy. That's crazy. Goddamn Louisiana for you. Goddamn Lafayette. That's a Lafayette.
Yeah, let me tell y'all, I've never witnessed a property that was on jacks before. Okay, like
Lafayette shit for you.
Let me tell you,
not even a hydraulic jack, like a regular car jack.
No, it was. Look, that's not. I don't know if it was hydraulic or not. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't really pay attention. I just know that thing was like, and it was like 8 of them under there. I mean, holding that bad boy, like, I'm like, so if you move this jack, that's going down. They're like, I'm like, oh, okay, bad. All right.
Y'all got to take some of that price off of that.
Yeah, you got to go down on that price, homeboy. Like, and they had no issues. They were like just as surprised as I was. They're like, is that a real jack? Man, we couldn't believe our father would do something like that. I'm like, yes, your father did something like that. We need to talk. And we talked.
Well, who? A car jack?
Bro.
For real?
Some different type of niggas in that, man.
A car jack?
Yes.
Like, I don't know whether to be impressed because it was resourceful or just like, what?
Hey, at the end of the day, it made a great deal.
Hey, it did. So moving forward with like the whole generational wealth thing, and like we see you got the game in the back. I want to talk about the game that you've done.
Developers.
Yes, like you created your own board game. Let's get into that and what was the catalyst for that?
So, man, I have so many people that be in my DM like, can you help us get started with real estate investing? Can you teach us how you leverage that first rental property? What is leverage and all this? And so I was like, all right, like I'm trying to hit everybody DM back. I ain't responding to everybody as fast as I possibly can. I'm missing a ton of people because Instagram got this whole nother section where you don't see all the messages that come through and Facebook do. And I don't know. So now I'm like, man, I'm really missing the people, bro. And my only heart is to give what I have. Like if I took myself from being homeless to the person I am today, I just want to share the news. And so I went to sleep. I had a dream that I was standing like at the top of this mountain and it was crazy. I was surrounded by so many people, but we was playing like a game. And if you guys know me, like I am a beast in Monopoly. I don't know nobody that can beat me. And that's a challenge for anybody. I'm just saying. I'm open to it. Oh, come on, Jared, let's go. You know,
I want the smoke. I want the smoke.
You want the smoke? I'm bringing it. All right, back. But I was like, yo, what if I create a board game? So I woke up the next morning. I'm big on Habakkuk 2:2, right? And I drew out my plan. I made it very clear. Like, okay, I want for this game to go through real life issues like I went through. So I was like, all right. So I wrote it down. I created it. I called one of my partners. I'm like, yo, I want to create a board game. He said, you just came up with this? I'm like, yeah, kind of like that. And he was like, all right, I'm going to come over back. I'm like, all right. So he was like, yeah, this is dope. So I called my other two business partners. I'm like, yo, I want to do a board game. This is what it's going to look like. What y'all think? And it was like, all right, cool. Let's do it. Like, let's see what it is. Right. So we call manufacturers. We get these retarded prices. Everybody telling us it take 18 months to 24 months to get it going. I'm like, yo, I don't got that long. I'm be uninterested by then. Like, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna be on. So finally, I reached out to an attorney. Shout out to Corey Jack, who put me on with my attorney firm, my patent attorney firm. And I said, how fast can you guys get me a patent for my board game design and things like that? They was like, we'll do it for you in 30 days. It was like, all right, how much is it going to cost? It's going to cost you a lot, but we can get it done in 30 days. I was like, all right, I want it. So let's do it. Okay. So then it was like, the next thing was the manufacturers. Oh, it's going to take, 6 to 12 months to get a prototype. Like 6 to 12 months. I need somebody hungry like me. So we found a manufacturing company that was going through whatever they was going through. And it's like, look, we can get you a prototype within the next 30 days if you got all your designs. Like, all right, bet. So my partner went to work with the people in China. I went to work with the people with the design. And then my other partner went to work with the customs and shipping and all that because he's in the oil field business and he do international sales. And so we all just had our own plugs and plays and we're all working at different angles. And then finally, we got our prototype back in. We're like, yo, this thing is nice. And so what developers does is it teaches you how to leverage real estate and doing it in a fashion where you go through real life circumstances. So there's life cards, there's liabilities, and there's assets, right? What happens is life can be good or bad. So if you pull a life card, you don't know what you're pulling, okay? Then you got liabilities where we just don't know. We're spending money constantly on these liabilities that keeps us in the rat race. And then we got assets. The assets is what allows you to keep money in your pocket and continue putting money in your pocket. And so you got to make your way around the board, acquiring different properties in different industries so you can end up with the keys to the city. So you got to have a rental property, you got to have a multifamily property, you got to have a commercial property, and you got to have a development about a block property. If you don't get all four, you can't get the keys to the city. But you got to try to get all four of them without going bankrupt. And the problem is a lot of people play without a strategy and they end up going bankrupt. And that's what happens in real life.
That's dope. And that's powerful. How can I get one of these games?
You can get one by going to developersboardgame.com and clicking the link and ordering it. It's not just a board game though. It's a game that teaches you how to keep on going when everything else gets hard. It is a curriculum inside of a board game, is what I call it, because at the end of the day, what you learn it, you're going to be able to retain forever. Like, we got so many success stories already. The game haven't even been out 90 days. So many success stories. It's been sold nationwide. It's been sold globally. I mean, we got orders in China. We got orders in Canada. We got orders in Mexico. We even had one in Germany, right? Yeah. So the game has made its way literally around the world. And I think it's bringing a fun vibe into the family homes. A kid hit me up on Instagram and was like, I freaking love this game. And I'm like, yes, I love you too. And then, I got another picture this morning where somebody was like, man, you don't know that bankrupt life until you play developers. And they passed out on the floor because they just hit bankrupt and they almost had the keys to the city. So it's a good game, but it's a teaching game. It's not just a game. It teaches. It's a real course. Like, it's a whole course within the box.
I love
That's
it.
precious.
Educating families. I love that your vision.
We gotta give one away, man. We're gonna do a link in the bottom. Y'all gonna sign up and we're gonna give a game away.
Yes, we got you.
You helping educate families. I love it. I love that your vision and you took your vision and your testimony and you've been able to help so many others with it and been able to put people on. This is beautiful, man.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Jared, Jalen, y'all got any different questions before I get into what's on your timeline, man?
I do have one more question. I got one too. Is around the whole development piece. Like, we talked about the Madeline Cove, but I kind of want to go into what was your very first development and some of the lessons that you had to learn from that so you can make it to this level.
Yeah, so the first development, I invested with quite a few partners who had more control than me. And I would say the biggest lesson I learned was that if it's your project, you control it. Don't allow nobody else to control it, because there was decision made that was not my decision. And, again, ownership is key. Ownership is key, right? That was one of the first lessons I learned. The second thing I learned was the engineering process, the planning and zoning and all this other stuff, those were very great learning curves for me, and to know what to expect going through the process, and knowing who all to have on your team and who not to have on your team, And then I would say, the third thing with development, I learned is absorption, right? A lot of people overbuild right away because they can't. But if you keep up with absorption, which means you build a property, you sell a property, you build a property, you sell a property, you're keeping up with absorption. You build 10 properties and you only have one, you're not keeping up with absorption. You have a whole lot of interest you're going to be paying on those properties. So you're going to start losing money and the development can go under. So pay attention to what you're doing and making sure you understand it, and making sure you have some type of counsel on your team that can give you advice on, the whole entire project overview.
So I'm gonna go a little bit deep. I just gotta know, so if I wanted to just get started, who would I want to have on my team if I'm trying to develop something? Like, who would be the right pieces to say?
First I would say experience. Like, don't just hop in the real estate game as a developer. Like, I don't recommend that for nobody. If you're wanting to hop in and be a developer, then work with a developer with you on that project. Don't do it by yourself. Pride leads to destruction, and you'll have a whole lot of blind spots that you could not foresee. So experience, is number one, whether it's you and or someone else who have development experience. You need an architect on your team. You need an engineer on your team. You need legal on your team. You need designers on your team. The architect can frame up the house and everything like that, but the designs, colors, and all that kind of stuff, you need a designer on your team. You need a realtor on your team, somebody that's going to bring the marketing, and make sure that it's, top notch. You got to have the right builders on your team, making sure that your contractors are doing a fantastic job, doing that property. So it's a lot of people that you need on your team, but those would be some of the top ones.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, appreciate that. That's man, the teams.
Yeah.
What you got, Jay? I ain't gonna lie. I got a lot of questions, but I ain't gonna keep you all day.
Yeah, I got a good part of here soon.
I'll let Jay go.
Yeah.
I got you. My last question I was just going to ask was just for like any of the audience who's like not as well versed on, I guess, real estate or how things work. I know you said at one point you were fixing and flipping and then you transitioned to developing. Can you kind of explain the key differences in those to people, like as far as fixing and flipping versus like fully actually doing development? And you kind of spoke to it as far as like code and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so flipping is, you're buying one single property that's already built, okay? And it needs some type of renovations to be brought up to, market value, right? It's below market value. You're getting it at a discount rate, and now you're going to go in and make it pretty. That's a rehab. That's a flip. Development is when you go into an area where it's raw land, and you build the streets out yourself. You go in and put the roads, you put the sidewalks, and you build the houses from the ground up. That's a development. And so the difference between the two is night and day.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Yeah, for the clarity. So now I'm going to the last question that I got for you, Terrica. So I want to ask you, and we ask everybody, what's on your timeline? What's something that you've seen on social media, something that's going on in life, anything that you've seen that you just want to speak on?
I would say the thing that's on my timeline that I feel, I would say very passionate about and that I would speak on is that, so what I don't do is get into politics or anything like that. Like I don't, have social media wars or anything like that. But I would say the South is equally as important as the rest of the world. And I would say that because the oil field industry is what keeps us breathing, believe it or not. And with the moratorium on oil and having oil shut down can suffocate any marketplace that, 60% of its reliance is on that. And, I think over the years, the South has become more diverse into the medical field, but you have a lot of families that rely on the oil field to provide for their families, and everybody's affected when the oil field is shut down in the South. The grocery store workers, everybody's affected.
There's money circulating.
Yes, not just the oil field workers. And so I think it's equally important to know that the South matters too.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even think about it like that. I ain't even gonna lie to you.
You think about it from just the environmental standpoint.
Yeah.
It is a lot of people that rely on oil. I mean, just think about like how many.
Yeah, I know a lot of people I know that work in the oil, like they work offshore.
Yeah.
Dang. We're going to have to find some type of, happy medium.
Yes, we do.
Got to help the South out.
Yeah. But Terrica, please let the people know where they can follow you, where they can keep up with you, everything that you got going on.
Yes. So, guys, you can follow me on Instagram at Female Real Estate Mogul, or you can just simply type in Terrica Lynn Smith into all platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn. My website is terricalynnsmith.com. I'm super easy to find because there's not a whole lot of Terrica Lynn Smith. So you can even type it in on Instagram, and that's where you can find me at and stay up to the latest.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much again, Terrica, for coming on the podcast. This has been amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for sharing your story, your testimony, and educating our audience.
Yeah.
Please let us know when that development gonna be. Yeah, we gotta pull up.
All right. No, y'all definitely in there. Y'all just gotta make sure y'all come down. Y'all big time now. Y'all all over the rest of the world, So
Lafayette's still in our heart. The boot is home. We gonna be back. All we need is a date. That's it.
Bet I got y'all.
Let's get into some house cleaning before we get up out of here.
Man, this has been an amazing episode for everybody. I just want to say thank y'all again for tuning into the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast. I know this was a special one for y'all, a little special to us.
Yeah, man. Our sister story. I didn't even know all of that stuff happened. Like, I just knew the background, but I didn't know all of that. So that was a very touching story. I really enjoyed this episode.
I did as well. If you enjoyed this episode,
please let us know.
Let us know. Leave a rating, review. If y'all know anybody else with a powerful testimony, y'all think they'd be fitting for the podcast, y'all send them my way. We want to hear from our people. But other than that,
I want to say
the Podcasters Playbook.
Yeah, y'all definitely purchase the Podcasters Playbook. If you would like to learn, if you would like to start a podcast, if you're interested in it, tap in. Y'all click that link below to get the Podcasters Playbook. Also, if y'all just want to learn a little bit, I got a free webinar just so you can get a little taste and see what's actually all in the course. But it's speaking about monetization, editing, how to market your podcast, and really just launch it and build it from the ground up. Y'all tap into that.
Also, I want to give a shout out. I ain't done it in a while, bro. To one of our last comments, man, on the podcast. Just give a shout out to the 50/50 Club. Somebody said this was such a joy. Their neighbor sent them the podcast. Keep up the amazing job. And so I just want to give you a shout out, 50/50 Club, and shout out to your neighbor for sending you the podcast as well.
Yeah,
hey,
sure.
appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. You're the truth.
Unity in the community, man. I love to see it. Keep spreading the message and the word. That's what we here for. That's what we gonna keep doing. Like we just said, hey man, we love y'all.
Yeah.
We rock with y'all.
Yeah.
We gonna be back next week with another one.
Thank y'all for having me. I love you guys.
Thank you so much. We love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
This is Black Wealth Renaissance signing out.
Peace.
I got money on my mind. I'm just trying to get some dough. I ain't picking up my line unless it's money on the phone. Gotta get it on the daily. All I want is dubs. You know what I'm on. I've been chasing after paper. All I know is run money marathon.
McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles in the overworld. Now for a limited time, you can get one of 6 McDonald's collectibles when you order a Minecraft movie meal. Ooh. With your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Available now in a biome near you. Oh, and at your local McDonald's. At participating McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.